Good evening, viewers. Welcome to our next episode of Sandy Wars. As you know, China has been making funny noises for some time about Arunachal. They have been renaming places left, right, and center. They are taking a very aggressive posture since 2020, since their misadventures in eastern Ladakh. We have today with us three participants of the 1962 war against China. Talk is cheap, as you know. A lot of people, a lot of analysts, both ESMs and civilians, have been analyzing in their way the China threat. But I believe that only people who have actually fought China, and that too in the terrain under discussion, which is in the Tawang ball on all the axis which leads to Tawang ball, their version and their opinion should count for the most. We have today with us Major General Krishen Khorana. Welcome, sir. He was the adjutant of 1 Sikh and OC Charlie Company on that epoch-making battle, which was fought by the Indian Army, the only undefeated battle of 1962 on the Bumla Tawang axis. We have with us Brigadier A.J.S. Behl, who did a remarkable feat on Sandhar as a gun position officer and de facto troop commander on the ground of the 17th Para Field Regiment E Troop on Sandhar Ridge. He fought the Chinese to a standstill in the infantry mode with his 34 people, 34 boys in his team, whereas the rest of 7th Brigade of Brigadier Dalvi packed up in the morning by 9:30 to 10. Brigadier Behl kept on fighting till 4 in the evening. That was remarkable, absolutely remarkable. We have with us Brigadier Gosal. You can see him there on the left. Brigadier G.S. Gosal, then Captain Gosal, was the OP officer of 1 Sikh and the OC of 7 Bengal Mountain Battery, part of 22 Mountain Battery, which was attached to 1 Sikh on the Bumla Tawang axis. He was positioned on Tongpenla with Lieutenant Haripal Kaushik's company, X1 Sikh, and they had fought the Chinese to a standstill. They had fallen back on Milak Tongla and beyond as per their own timetable on only because the division asked them to fall back. Only because, mark my words, the division asked them to fall back, not that they had to fall back. And they finally successfully withdrew to Jang with all equipment intact, all men and animals. Animals means the mules intact. A remarkable feat by any standards. These three gentlemen will today discuss the Chinese threat, the possible Chinese threat against the Tawang salient, against the Tawang ball, if and when the Chinese come next time. They will discuss it from the operational point of view as well as the technical point of view. Let's start with General Khurana, sir.
Uh, Frankly, I analyst any repute, nor have I indulged in any such great research as such. But yes, I have read almost everything that has come out uh, on people who have written about the area of Tawang and the 1962 war as a whole. Now, the Chinese, they always been an imperialist power, whether they are under a communist regime or it's been a dynastical rule. And whenever they have been centrally a very strong government, strong power, they have always been an imperialist power. So when it comes to whatever quarrel we have with them, neither what is happening in eastern Ladakh, nor when they make any postures or pose any postures in Arunachal Pradesh, old Nepal area, is not the end. So we've been experiencing their Islamic life as an imperialist power. It's never an end. So in sum, what happens is they will keep shifting their LAC. They keep uh, demanding or keep claiming one area or another till such time that you pose a physical presence and threat to stop them. Otherwise, they'll keep moving ahead. This is nothing new. For them, imperialism is their basic ethos, whether it's the Middle Kingdom and the globe around it, or it is today, instead of the territorial kind of imperialism, they are indulging now in economic imperialism, going to various countries and doing whatever they are. So, what they do in Tawang area, or what they may do in Tawang area, is basically as a claim for a quid pro quo anywhere else, maybe in Eastern Ladakh, whether it's a shifted LAC or it is another claim elsewhere.
Okay, sir. Let's come to Brigadier Behl, sir. Now, like you have been telling me in private conversations, it's a very different ball game now vis-a-vis 1962. How do you see it panning out now, sir?
Well, talking
If
of
things
the
are
present
now,
scenario, it has not changed much because the Wang is the board of contention and everything is still there. Only thing that has changed is that there is a one-ton road which the Chinese built in 5 7 days from Kumla to Tawang. And I traveled on that train sitting in a one ton. So it is the communication which has improved. But their interest is also in Dalai Lama nominating somebody of their choice as his relief. This is what I feel. I may be wrong, but this is what it is. And if the nomination of Dalai Lama's relief may be a person of Chinese choice, then they stand to gain, or what they want, they'll get it.
so occupying Tawang monastery will give them that leverage. You feel?
Definitely. Because that monastery is because of religious importance, and at the present moment, a political scenario will emerge if the Chinese occupy that, or they can get the right statement from the Dalai Lama. They stand to gain lots. This is what I feel.
Okay, Brigadier Gosal, sir, your perspective.
Yeah. First of all, let me tell you that we got to build our defenses, we got to build our forces in that area which can stand the Chinese. They are not superpower. I can show you man to man, we are no, not inferior. I would say we are superior. The Chinese at the moment, I don't know whether you have seen, their soldiers are crying because there is only one child policy in China, which has given those only only sons of the families to the armed forces. So they are not very happy about it. They don't want any um, expansion. But the government is very keen that they want to continue this pressure on India, uh, that Arunachal is part of them and they would like to change the McMahon line and so and so, so and so. If tomorrow they want to gain anything, they will definitely come to Tuang because their line of communication to Tuang are much better than what they were in 62. I haven't gone after the 62 war into that area, but Brigadier Behl says that they had built that road and I'm sure they will be able to improve it as and when they require that road. So, and if they, if they at all uh, capture Tawang, they have gained hell of a lot. The complete Nyamkachu Valley would be under them without any fight because they would have come and sat down behind Nyamkachu Valley. And if they go to Lumla or Shakti, they can totally block the Nyamkachu Valley and you will not be able to get out of it. So their my according to me, their main aim would be to capture Tuang, come at least up to Jang, and if day after tomorrow they want further, they would come to Sela, and from Sela they would join the Bhutan border. So that may be their design to uh, make the backbone line or the line of control on Sela to Bhutan. This is my personal views on the subject.
General Khorana, if you were fighting from the Chinese side, if it's a red on blue game, how do you attack the Tawang ball, sir?
Sandeep, the first thing is that comes to my mind is today, in today's scenario, in today's geopolitics, whatever is going on, why do the Chinese want to come to Tawang or capture it? Tawang can be kept as far as tactical battles are concerned or the forces which are required to be utilized by the Chinese to capture Tawang, the ground is the same. There is no change in the ground. The ground change may be that there are better communications probably, and the Chinese are quite capable, as Amarjit said, they made a road in 13 days. Uh, they made a road in 13 days in 1962 when the Chinese used their population for their great leap forward or for their social program of the Cultural Revolution. They had made labor into brigades and they used it as such. So that's a different issue. The thing is, they can make a road. They can make any model road anywhere. Well, why do they want Tawang? What is the reason for their wanting Tawang? That is one. Second is the routes which may help them because Tawang is a salient. It can be bypassed. It can be surrounded. So technically, it's not a big deal for the Chinese unless unless you are able to create on the border itself what you call as the McMahon line. You are able to fortify those by the type of fortification which the Chinese are doing elsewhere. For example, in Ladakh area or in areas like that, they are talking about 562 modern or model villages. Now, those villages are not housing some civilians. Those people are there. They are a multi-purpose event. In Tawang, salient itself, what is our infrastructure which has come up? Even the road, even today, I mean, you have a great man in one of the correspondents and an expert now, whose name I'm forgetting, who's also been to Tawang any number of times, traveled any number of times. The road to Tawang even today is not an operable or fully operable road, and so it remains. What is that area? What is our total deployment in that area? So if you take that into account, what difference will it make? What we were in 1962, what we are now, what is the force level we have deployed, what is the weaponry we have deployed. As far as Chinese are concerned, they still, from the Lee village, or what that time, now the distance is 3 hours run, or they can concentrate on the border within a division within a couple of days. So, have we got the capability in that area to defend Tawang? That is what is important.
I just had to add here, sir. Now our motorable road stretches up to Hathungla Ridge. So a motorable road, and we patrol. With long range patrols, what we did in October '62, we go up to Bridge 5 Sangle, and we have restored old Khinzemane post, and so we have restored status quo ante as of October 1962 with better infrastructure now. And if there is a motorable road up to Hathungla, then as Brigadier Gosal was telling me the other day, that means the Shakti hanging bridge also is motorable now. Without the Shakti bridge being motorable, you cannot obviously take 2.5 tons beyond the Niamjangchu Valley. So our infra and our preparedness is better now. We have field regiments in Muchur. We have in the overlooking the Niamjangchu Valley. So I'm sure we are better off this time.
Definitely, we have better structure. Definitely, we are better off, got better roads and all. But look at the other side. What have they got? How far have they gone? See, on a comparative basis, the force levels that you can concentrate against each other, the amount of buildup that you can carry out, that is the kind of analysis you have to do, or people have to do before, when thinking of tactical battles in the Tawang salient.
So let's come to Brigadier Behl. Sir, did you face or did you experience any artillery fire from the Chinese in '62? This is something we had been discussing. Were the Chinese able to bring up artillery on Thagla, or was it only heavy mortars? Brigadier Behl, sir.
Artillery support and heals can be provided every time, provided time is given and the line of sight is clear. That's about all.
So
That is why are the Chinese keen to get Tuang as per me is first and foremost is the religious sentiments.
Yep, that's true.
Second is dominating ground that Tuang is. This is what I feel will tell them that go and occupy Tawang, and then you have Dalai Lama in your hand. This is what I feel. I may be wrong.
sir, tactically, how will they behave on the Namkachu front this time, sir? Given that we are better prepared, better equipped, with logistics in place. That's your backyard, sir. You know that like the back of your palm.
Sandeep, as far as I feel, Nyamkachu, even if you have taken a battery or a regiment of artillery there, I don't know you are so well prepared that you will be able to defend that area.
Exactly.
Because, and as far as uh, artillery sport uh, to the Chinese during 62 is concerned, whatever books I have read on Nyamkachu and Nyamjangchu, I, ne- I haven't heard from anyone that they brought artillery guns. They had only mortars and MMGs and so and so, so and so. They, they did fire a lot of mortars into that area. I don't know. Uh, Behl would be able to confirm her whether they had the artillery sport in that area in 62.
Brigadier Bell, sir, did you experience artillery fire from the Chinese side or only heavy mortars?
The Chinese had mortars firing from their side into Indian side because mortars are much easier to deploy and to be used for fire. On night of 19th, 20th night of October 62, the Chinese did use mortars from heights of area which is behind the Chinese.
Okay, so the ground hasn't changed a bit, in spite of roads and all. And if you look at
No, it's not
behind
the
Thagla,
ground which changes. It's like this. First, who controls that ground? Secondly, to what extent? And thirdly, what do they have to beat us to it? This. If you have these three things answered properly, then you will definitely find a solution which is fit for that place.
so this time they have precision guided missiles, precision guided munitions this time. So they are not handicapped by conventional artillery having to be brought within range and all. So precision guided missiles can be fired from behind the Lee village. They don't even have to bring it up to Thagla. So the vulnerabilities increase manyfold, sir.
Hmm. It's not that way. The vulnerability of the troops who hold the ground there, well, I don't deny that. But once they have got hold of that ground, they definitely will make full use of it and try and get superiority in weapons and in manpower.
So you mean we are still in a bad shape if they do come?
Now, Sandeep,
Hanji.
I feel if we are going to sit along the Nyamkashu River once again, what we did in 62 will be thatched like hell.
Absolutely.
And unless you go to the higher heights, I don't know why uh, Brigadier Dalvi didn't refuse those orders and he should have gone to Sangdar feature. I mean,
I
sitting in the nalas, sitting in the along the river for two, uh, 200 meters, it was ridiculous. All the three or four battalions, whatever he had, they were all sitting along the river bed, and the Chinese were on Thagla Ridge looking over them.
you
Gurcharan,
see,
Gurcharan, who stopped him? Who stopped Dalvi? Who stopped Dalvi from changing?
No, I agree. I don't know why didn't you do it. He was a strong commander. I have served with him when he was in Tawang sector, if you remember, and
Yes,
I thought he was a very capable commander. I don't know why didn't he refuse the divisional commander and corps commander.
but
I
Actually,
90% the division
basically,
may I
also
say
was
something, sir?
basically
physically there.
threat
He
from
did
call.
nothing.
May I say
Call was
something?
responsible for
Yes,
putting
yes,
all,
Brigadier Behl.
all,
Brigadier Behl,
all
sir. Yeah, you were saying, sir.
I may I say something?
Yes, sir, please.
None of the commanders from Indian side was in favor of deploying artillery along Namkachu or Namjangchu. The first thing anybody said at that stage was, it is tactically wrong. We should not do this deployment. This
Absolutely right.
was told to me on 6th of October 1962 by General Niranjan Prasad, who was our commander para brigade, and he had briefed me on 6th morning in Tawang. And I'm sure the views will be the same by other people because they all felt that this tactical planning was being shoved down their throat.
From army headquarters.
sorry, um, Amarjit. Uh, let me tell you, I carried out the reconnaissance with Colonel Mishra of 9th Punjab
Yes.
whether the guns can be taken to Nyamjangchu area. I told them that it is not possible. First, there was a hanging there was a hanging bridge at Shakti. No mules, not even the mules could uh, go across that hanging bridge. Thereafter, there were certain areas which were like steep stairs. So the mules could not take 350 kg of gun items over that area. So I told them, sorry, the mountain guns cannot go there. That's why they probably called you to drop para guns there. And unfortunately, out of four, you could retrieve only two. What could you do with two guns? I I pity you. I mean, it was ridiculous to expect anything from two guns.
Sandeep,
I agree with you 100% that it was asking for the moon literally from those guns. And that's how it was because General Call told me on 3rd September,
3rd October. 3rd October, sir.
no, 3rd October 1962 at Tezpur Airport that if you are not in your gun possession by 8th of October, you had it.
So if we come back to the present, now that
yes,
we are forewarned, now that we know, General Khurana sir, now that we know, can't it be different this time? Because it's alarming, what the two brigadiers are telling us, the two gunners, that even this time it may not be all that much different, sir.
you know, we've gone back to what we did or the infrastructure or whatever happened in 19. See, we're talking today about Tawang being an object of desire by China in the present scenario. Why does he want Tawang? Amarjit said it's got a religious connotation, and also the fact that in its own history, Tawang is a very important part of Tibet.
Yes.
Then Tibet doesn't, for Chinese, Tibet did not end in Arunachal Pradesh boundary towards Tibet, but it extended right down to the foothills. So Tawang is an object. It's a target. It's a place which they definitely would want to get back if they can. But it is also uh, an area which they'd like to maybe maybe they'd like to have as a quid pro quo with the LSE shifting LSE or the Islamic slicing that they do in Ladakh or in that area. So they may turn around and say, all right, you can have the Depsang. They may let go the Depsang area which they are today in a position to occupy, and your whole road which you have constructed from Demchok, etc., all totally gone for a six because they can take it in any position. So ultimately, the Chinese are able to get you on the negotiating table. Tawang becomes an area of interest and a bargaining chip. Now, how can Tawang be annexed? That's a that's a plan which Chinese can make. It depends on what you have. Tawang can be bypassed. Even today, it can be bypassed. But what you deploy in Tawang, and if you want to fight out in Tawang, then how that whole battle plan has to work and how deployments have to be carried out, those have to be worked out by the commanders of today and the interest what lies in that area.
Sir, how
I
can
will,
it be bypassed, sir? How can it be bypassed? All three axes are covered now. We saw the other day,
See,
what happened.
Sandeep, let me tell you something very interesting. In in the mountains, you can bypass almost all positions because there is something known as a mountain ridge line and there is a river line down below. And it is such a difficult area for people to infiltrate. Now, for example, we were sitting at Sela with 4 battalions. We were bypassed. We watched the troops who were bypassing us on the old Bailey route and various other routes. Now they bypass. So what? That the point is, so what if they bypass? It is your will to be remain where you are,
Yeah.
bypass, let somebody else in the senior commander deal with that bypass force which has gone behind. We didn't do that in 62. Today, I ask the same question, are we ready for something like that today? If that is so, then Tawang will not get lost. But we can't, or we are not prepared to do that. Well, the Tawang will be.
I say one thing. When fighting the Chinese, the troops to enemy ratio will always keep fluctuating because they will have certain amount superiority in their hands and they'll use it. And secondly, they will not let us have the advantage of superiority ever because they want to control the battle at all levels.
No, it's true. There's the number superiority, whether 3-1 or whether you go beyond in the mountains to 7-1 or 9-1. The issue is that it is the troops on the ground who have to fight a defensive battle. They have to have the will to fight a defensive battle. When you don't will to fight a defensive battle, now for example at Sela, I've been there, I was there. The Sela with 4 battalions was lost to jitter parties of the Chinese, which had infiltrated along with the withdrawal of 4 Garhwal and of 2nd Sikhalai. And they were the total, and the will to fight was not there. The fact is that.
I think that is against the Red Mao when he was because that if you read it, you can predict.
Can't hear.
Sir, your voice is
Can't hear.
is this backup, sir?
Hello, Sandeep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now, I just a little bit more. Since Gurcharan Gosal is there and he fought a very successful, his company and our
Equipped, right? Now, I was discussing with Brigadier Gosal last time that on the Bumla axis, the Chinese had come with 1 regiment and 4 companies on that day. That was 23rd of, that night, 23rd of October. And you had 1 company up front and 1 battery. Up front on Tongpengla was 1 company and 1 battery to help you, right? So 16 companies facing you, sir. A regiment plus 4 companies. And you fought on your terms. So it could be done, right? Even then.
Uh, I would like to say something at this stage.
Sir.
Exaggerating, exaggerating the presence of Chinese by most of the units was that way only. Aa gaye, and then that is the thing. Whether they were there or not there, it didn't matter. Everybody wanted to prove that he is the marshal of the area. And secondly, झूठ वूठ बोल दो अच्छा हो जाएगा तो फिर काम बन जाएगा. It's not possible. Fighting means just put your soul and heart into it.
So Chinese threat has been always played up, you mean? Always played up.
just like say, you talked about a small company level battle. Basically, it was that where Gurcharan Gosal and Haripal Kaushik they succeeded. That proves the point that if you are well deployed and you are prepared and you have the will to fight, that the enemy can be defeated. They had the
Yes.
strength. Chinese had the strength. They had been successful in the thrust towards Namkachu. They had all the morale up. Yet here you had Indian troops who fought them and did well by them. So it is not something that cannot be. You can fight them again. You can fight any enemy anywhere, as long as You are prepared to fight him. You are prepared to fight him. And what Amarji said, that on ground you have to have what you need to fight. When you
Absolutely.
need to fight and have everything that you need to fight, your troops will automatically be on that morale and they will fight. And if your leaders, senior leaders, mean business, then they will fight. We are talking today that in today's scenario, how important is Tawang? Why is it important? What we should do, and what we should do anywhere opposite the Chinese. Now, that is the thing which we want to talk about, and whether we are doing it or we are not doing it, whether it is in Tawang or whether it is in the Eastern Ladakh or anywhere else. I think we let's concentrate on that. Maybe we will get some answers, some
Sir,
decent
sir.
answers. That
So if it happens now, will it be different? I think that's where we had digressed from. Will it be any different this time, sir?
it will be different. It has to be different. While it is, we don't know what the army headquarters and what the country strategization is, how much they are ready to lose and lose for what, and how much they are ready to negotiate and negotiate for what. But if you're talking purely in terms of tactical battle for the salient of Tawang, the situation doesn't change very much. It depends upon the force levels and how people are prepared, whether they have time, or they have bunkers this time, or they have only stone walled sangars. So
Congrats.
it's a matter
Sir,
of how well
sir,
they are
General Khorana,
and
so are
on.
we saying that if they have the equipment, if they have equipment, logistics, and supplies, they're bound to do well? Are we saying that?
No, I'll tell you something else. At Sela, we have 4 battalions. Everybody had enough blankets to sleep in. We had full rations over there. They were well stocked with ammunition, whether mortar at the battalion and elsewhere. But they didn't fight. We didn't fight. I was there. We didn't fight. We got jittered. The only people who fought well over there were 4 Gurwal who fought successful covering troops action. The rest of us, we collapsed. Reason was very simple. By that time, forget what, the same battalion at Tongpingla, at IB Ridge, it fights a valiant battle. And the same battalion, when it comes to Sela, after a month's gap, it doesn't fight. Now, this is something which is not realized by many. Not many people understand that the dynamics behind such kind of behavior or such kind of happenings amongst the same troops in different, and it has happened in so many wars. It's not just in this Sela or this place. Such things have happened in First World War, Second World War, and elsewhere. A battalion doing extremely well, or troops or a formation doing extremely well at one point in time, not doing well after another 1 week or 10 days. So it is unpredictable. These things are predictable and dependent on a situation as it moves on.
So
General
could
Khorana, I would like to know from you how well prepared, how well you prepared your defenses were at Sela. Uh, did you
I,
have sufficient and stores?
I know I
Did you
have.
have sufficient mines? Did you have sufficient barbed wire? Did you have all those things?
No, not all of them. Mine there was no wire over there, and the but the people were very well dug down, including at the Kaila Pass, and the second Sikila was fairly well dug down and prepared. We were we had mostly sangars in Pasik area at the pass itself. For Sikhalai was in a better position. They were also well. So I would say, to answer your question, we were definitely better prepared to fight a battle with the kind of troops we have, who are used to fighting with the least and with deprivation, than we were at Namkachu.
And
That's what.
you had sufficient gun sport. artillery
Yes,
support.
2 regiments.
Yeah, 2 regiments.
But sir, if it came to that and because of lack of barbed wire, etc., the defenses are overrun, it never came to that. Jitter parties, just a few jitter parties gaining heights and opening up, brought about the collapse. So it has nothing to do with equipment and defenses.
You're right. You. It's a will to fight.
Sandeep, another point I want to mention is General Patania, who was very well decorated soldier, had fought World War II. He was the GOC,
Good
and
point.
he left Drang and told Brigadier Hushar Singh that we are leaving. I leave it to you whether you want to stay there or you want to get back. I mean, what sort of a leadership is this? And ultimately,
Gurcharan, all our leaders at that point in time, I think it's not fair. They were leaders, so I wouldn't like to comment. But even Brigadier Hushar Singh or they, all these people, they came. They had MVCs and they had various decorations. But whether they were fit to command brigades and divisions, that's another matter. But that's not for you. Frankly speaking, I wouldn't like to talk about them. They, वो चले गए हैं उन जान दे उन्होंने.
चले गए हैं जानते हो sir, but now people who are there, I am saying again we are back to Tawang. Again the same Chinese with again the same reputation. They will be coming with having, with the Ladakh thing in their credit. Okay, they have occupied vast stretches and so if equipment and preparation is not the differentiator, the psychological will to fight is the differentiator. So I'll
Yes,
come back to Brigadier Behl. He told me something very interesting the other time, where I asked him, what kept you going, sir? When you took up infantry defenses on Sangdhar with your 34 boys, and you fought till 4 in the evening when everyone had collapsed by 9:30, I asked Brigadier Behl, what kept you going? And he said, we didn't even think. Lado te maro. Brigadier Behl, you said that, right?
Yes, yes. I still say I said, thought that, and I said that.
So that's it. That's the differentiator. So when you motivated your boys, was there anything special you did? Or were they like that? Ab
Sandeep.
initio.
Sandeep. Amarjeet has just said, लड़ो या मरो. What does that? What translated? थोड़ी सी अंग्रेजी में इसको translate करो. What does it mean? You have to will to fight. लड़ो या मरो. Anywhere, in any battle, in any army, that is the basis that they have to fight, and they have to will to fight. That is what is important. And the will comes how the entire infrastructure, how the entire country, and how you have built yourself up to fight against an enemy whom you recognize. Today we know who are our enemies. How well are we prepared, or how well are we preparing to fight them? The government comes into this. It's not just the soldier. The soldier will fight with whatever he has. That's what even Ved Malik said before going into Kargil. He said, we'll fight with what we have. So go into those questions. I wish you would do into this Sentinels series. Ask these guys, are you preparing your armed forces to fight where you want them to fight, where you want them to go and die? That is what is the question.
So Brigadier Behl, you were saying something, sir.
The point is, what my senior officers have said, I agree with them totally. But in Nasur जिसको बोलते हैं, वो ये है कि sit down next to the fire and then say भैन चोद मरवा देंगे यार. ये साला उथे टच भी गया सी और
Now
वेले
you're
मरवा.
getting oh, Amarjeet, now you are really getting into it.
Hanji, sir. Brigadier Behl, sir. Dasso, sir. Brigadier Behl, sir. Please continue.
क्या मैंने बोल दिया जो बोलना था.
नहीं, और एक बारी दसो, sir. और एक बारी. We didn't get you fully.
Sit down, talk to either say, hey, ਭੈਣ ਚੋਦ ਨੇ ਮਰਵਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹਨੇ ਕੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਦੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਐਵੇਂ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਜਰਨੈਲ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਰਵਾਏਗਾ this is the type of talk which goes on.
So that is basically skeptical about the leadership, right? Skepticism about the leadership.
That's no leadership at all. That is no leadership at all. No army in the world goes back fully with every equipment. You all face threats, dangers, and sometimes lose and sometimes fight.
Uh, I want to mention another thing. As far as leadership is concerned, 1965, the chief had told the army commander, Western Command, to withdraw to Bias. General
Yes,
refused. He said, sorry, I am not withdrawing to Bias. I am going to fight here. And ultimately, he captured 95 tanks of the Pakistanis. This is what leadership is. When General Kaul got sick and General Harbaksh came to Sela, he straightway went to, as I mentioned last time, he went to First Sikh, which he had commanded during 1947 and 48. And the boys were full of uh, high spirits. And they said, ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਰਨੈਲ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਦੇਖਿਓ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ. This is what the boys used to say on those lines. I mean, it's all leadership, I would say.
So we are then saying that if the Chinese come again at Tawang, it is completely Bhagwan Bharosa. Because leadership we don't know, equipment and logistics are better, but what will happen on that day is an imponderable. Are we saying that, General Khorana?
No, I am not saying that. Tawang is definitely a more defensible place, and I have no doubt in my mind that our military leadership would have worked out their or done their sums and worked out as to how the Tawang salient is to be defended, even now, particularly now, with the uh, kind of kind of atmosphere or the environment we live in with the Chinese. I can't believe that Tawang will just capitulate the way it did in 1962. I definitely, but then you and I am not aware of what they plan, what are the force levels there, what they have in mind. But definitely, I know one thing: that Tawang is not going to be given up just because the Chinese want it.
Sir,
That won't.
if you were in command now, what force level would you recommend to defend the entire ball, Tawang ball, up
Well,
to Sil?
starting from the Thagla Ridge side, right from there onwards till Sela and where the uh, imaginary line is, you would need anything up to about almost a division from Sela onwards towards Tawang, and the ridge line that you can or need to defend, you would need at least a division or a division minus there.
With what kind of supporting weapons, sir?
Well, that is something which frankly speaking, I can't work out. They they would have enough. Any the divisions have enough ammunition. They would work out their sums. They would know how many regiments they need, what precisions they need, what DZs they need, what kind of helicopter forces or the rapid movement forces they need. Now, it's all a thing which has developed over these years, over the decades, and I'm sure they must have their plans for that. To which we have retired long back, and I am not certainly privy, and I have not followed up on such matters.
Okay, Brigadier Gosal, sir, if you were in command, what would you recommend, sir?
I would say we require minimum a division, and as far as RT sport is concerned, it should be like Kargil war. If we can have it more than a divisional RT, it'll be worth it. It is only with this buffer and other superior guns we can stop the Chinese um, before they start their operations.
Sir, that road which we have, that Bumla road, excellent road which the Chinese had made and now it's been developed. Will can that make an attacking force vulnerable now, sir? If you flip it around, that road will it be bare and vulnerable to precision guided munitions, rockets, and short range missiles for an attacking force?
Yeah, definitely it would be. It would be
It can it become a killing ground for Chinese attacking forces, sir?
killing ground for.
For the Chinese invading forces, if they push up a battalion at a time up that road, it's a narrow road all the same.
Sandeep,
Hanji.
just a moment. The road from Bumla to Tawang, which they developed, they can even make it into a 10-ton road. Ultimately, Tawang is a salient. You have to get down to Tawang Chu or the Mago Chu or whatever you call it. They can come up to that. You can make any type of road. So they can build up anything there. Then after that, what? It's not that.
If
It's
I
not
may
that
say,
that road has got a certain amount of significance and advantage, but it does not give them an advantage that they can just simply amass any amount of artillery on it and go anywhere and then deploy it in Tawang. Then they still would have to fight beyond beyond the Tawang Chu and the Mago Chu. So that ground area is not that simple. Yes, Tawang can be bypassed. You have to make sure that even if Tawang is bypassed, you are able to contend, not like last time that उन्होंने bypass कर दिया और आप वहां से भाग गए.
Sir, on the right flank we have Tulungla,
Sandeep,
and that
just
road Tulungla it comes to towards Jang, from Tulungla to Jang. That road is very well covered now with Indian artillery, sir. I am saying now all the approaches are very well covered. Bumla Tawang, Tulungla Sela. So can it be reversed? Can a Chinese attack end in disaster?
The guns can be there. Any number of guns can be there. You have to have deployment there. That stops the troops. That drops a force from
I
coming in and
say
taking and
something, please.
So Brigadier Behl, sir, you were saying, sir.
The thing is that after 62 war, everybody says that you run away, do anything, you will be excused. बोल the बहुत था बत्ती बंद हो गई थी. No, there should be a fear of the government that if you don't do well, you are going to be fixed. And in Kargil, one or two people have definitely been fixed. I know it.
So there have to be consequences for cowardice. That's what he was saying.
It's not forward. It's the how he handles that situation. He may be bravest of brave.
Sir, as you know, in 65 Pak War, 7 days, a brigade commander was sacked on the spot because of tardy, progress
In
towards Pak.
65, 18 officers were brought down. You can see the returns. And people used to see General Dhillon, GOC 11 Corps, they used to all start shitting green because he wouldn't spare anybody. I was also one of them.
So you are saying that kind of a, respect for consequences has to be there. Is that you are saying, sir?
The fear of not doing well should always be there.
about it that we are much better off than we were in 1962. But to conclude for us, we must have more information as retired and veterans to conclude that yes, we can win a war anywhere in any sector is a different matter. But we are all students of geopolitics, even in retirement. And in that, you ask yourself, what is happening and what is required? What is China up to? So it's a very simple thing. China is an imperialist power, whether it's ruled by communists or whether it's dynastical rule, which they of the King dynasty, which finished off in 1912. So you come to a conclusion that they are not going to stop slicing off any bit of land you can they walk into and you don't contest it. China has to be stopped. The moment he comes one step forward, you have to have the capability to stop him there and then. Do we have that? Whether in Tawang, whether in East Ladakh, that is the important thing. And that is answer which you can only get from the government and from the military hierarchy. You and I sitting in retirement, well, we can only conjecture.
Uh, Brigadier Gosal, last words from you, sir.
Yeah, my last word is that if the Chinese, for any reason, take over Tawang this time, they are not going to vacate after 15 days, 20
That
days. They are
will
going
never
to stay there, and you have to, mm, you got to swallow it. And so, if you don't want Tawang to go to Chinese, be prepared 100%, not 100%, 200%. Please get your defenses right, build up your defenses, build up your ammunition, build up your weapon system, and be prepared to fight them with all the confidence, with all the power in your hands.
May I say something now?
Brigadier Behl, your words, sir.
I was personally present during 65 operation. General Dhillon, and he said in Punjabi, "Uttar tu bhaj ke dekh tanu main siddha karda." And in front of me, he brought down a lieutenant colonel to a major and gave him two slaps. कहता भैन चोदा डर के भजदा है?" And he got 14 years later, 7 years later on in jail. We have to be very tough. ये नहीं कहना कि पिछली बारी भी होया सी ते ऐतकी भी भज जाइए. We cannot say that.
You're right, absolutely right.
Okay, so to may I summarize on your behalf for our viewers? General Khurana says this is a geostrategic thing. China remains an imperial power, whether under communism or under some dynasty or under President Z. They remain an imperial power. They will relentlessly push ahead until they are stopped and pushed back. And hence, we have to be prepared, be it Tawang, be it anywhere else. We have to be prepared with logistics, equipment, and morale. This is what General Khurana said in a nutshell. Brigadier Gosal feels that this time we cannot afford to go wrong because this time China will not do a 62 November, act, reverse act, and go back. If they take Tawang, they will it will be very difficult to dislodge them. One will have to. There will be a lot of doing left to dislodge them. They won't go back on their own.
Please listen to me.
Yes,
When
Brigadier.
the,
Hanji.
when the Chinese sent this force to attack India, they were given clear instructions that you will not indulge in looting, you will not indulge in any wrong actions, and your target is to come back from Tejpur.
you
Don't go beyond that. So, therefore, if you have a fear of the unknown in the heart of defender, we are bound to do well. जुतियां पहन दे डर तो फिर बिल्कुल ठीक हो जाने हैं ऐसे लोग.
And so Brigadier Behl has repeatedly, he has reminded us that ultimately military discipline and the concern for consequences are very important factors which play in the mind of commanders and those they command. and he has given examples from the 65 war and other actions like in Kargil, where there were consequences of failure which are absolutely essential, unlike what happened in 1962. So, our viewers, we had a rich panel today, one of the richest possible in India, which could be assembled to speak on a possible Chinese action in that particular sector, which is West Kameng Tawang. I hope you have benefited from what General Khorana, Brigadier Behl, and Brigadier Gosal had to say. Now, the rest depends on the country's government and the military hierarchy. Good night, viewers. It was great having you with us. Hope you enjoyed.